What's up, Rubric family? Juan reporting here. First of all, we would like to send some greetings to Ryan. He couldn't be with us today. He had some medical issues, but we hope he gets better soon. But this time we're going to be reporting about what took place in AEW's All Out, and also we're going to do some NXT TakeOver Cardiff. But for that, it's not going to be just me this time. And I'm going to introduce to you, I'm going to give you one of the newest members of the Road Break family, and his name is Jean Paul LEeck. So, Jean Paul LEeck is here with you guys. Hey, how's it going?
Not bad, not bad.
He's going to be our guest for today, and he's going to join the family. So, well, we just watched All Out.
Yep.
And we just wanted to share our thoughts. We're going to do a review on it. Brandon, or Jean Paul, his gimmick name, he's been a fan for quite a while. And
Thanks to Juan here.
well, the story comes through. I started to talk to Brandon about wrestling, and he just loved it. And now it's one of his passions, right?
Exactly.
That's how you got into it. See, he has the Austin 316. I have the best in the world right here. He is the real best in the world, all right? Not Phil Brooks, none of that shit. Or Chris Jericho, right here. Shane O'Mac. That's for all of you haters. But anyway, we're going to start with All Out. You know, this week has been a really busy week for wrestling. And we're going to start with the pre-show match, right?
Yeah, the buy-in, as they call it. So that was the first match, was the Women's Battle Royal. And it was pretty good. It did a lot of things that normal battle royals do. You know, you got some people in there jobbing and, you know, not doing too much. They focused on a lot of the main talents. Nyla Rose was in early. She ended up winning the whole thing. And they booked her pretty good. There was a couple spots where they kept calling her a monster, but she would get thrown to the outside and be missing for a couple minutes. So it didn't hurt her too much, but there could have definitely been more. I mean, she mixed it up with a lot of the people you expected, but
they could have done a little more, right?
Yeah, and it was one of those things where she was the clear-cut winner from the beginning.
Like you knew she was going to win.
Yeah, you just knew. I mean, they were like, oh, you know, when she came out first, they were setting her up like, can she go the distance? She's one of the toughest competitors, and you know, they kind of painted the picture for you.
And we got to mention that, like, she's transgender, so that's important. I mean, I guess AEW is taking risks.
Yeah.
Showing some things that, like, probably WWE wouldn't do. And I feel that, like, it showcased a lot of variety of girls that we don't even know.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of faces in there like I only heard of, never saw actually in action. Like Bea Priestley was one, she was good. They set up a story with her and Britt Baker towards the end. It came down to Baker and Nyla and Priestley was eliminated, and then she was holding on to Baker on the ropes, and then Nyla eliminated her. So that's definitely going to be a feud there. They're setting up. So that's what they did, things that were good in it, but I mean, overall, a battle royal is never going to be that, you know. It's
well,
never
like,
going to steal
good
the show.
thing we got to see Tennille.
Yeah.
Tennille Dashwood.
Yeah, that was good to
for
see
the
her
ones
again.
that don't know, that's WWE's Emma. She did her debut at AEW. Although she has a contract with Impact, they were able to fix a way for her to, like, she could appear on this. Did she get eliminated right away?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
fairly okay.
Yeah, I mean, she was in there for maybe like 3 minutes. She had a good spot and here and there. That's like a lot of the names. You know, I never heard of these people before. I think she threw like 2 people in the corner and did a move here and there, but she wasn't in very long.
But that wasn't very long. Yeah.
Like you said, she's with TNA.
Yeah.
So they just showcased her like, oh, you know, here she is. It's cool, but they weren't gonna really push her.
They were gonna push her because she doesn't have a contract with AEW.
Yeah, and they kind of already have their stars set in place.
And like you said, Nyla is the one that they're pretty much pushing. Like she's gonna be in contendership against Riho.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the title match for the for the inaugural Bacon Women's Championship that is gonna take place on October 2nd on TNT on AEW's debut.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were probably gonna pick Britt Baker to win. Because you might think, you know, we already saw Riho and Nyla in that triple threat match. But that's what, like, it was good they set Britt up with
Well, yeah.
Would that be a preview? Like
Well,
another feud? Like they're keeping these women in storylines and stuff, which is good.
So they can use them, for
Yeah.
example.
That could be like a number one contender
that
match
number
or
one
something.
contender is something that we've been asking people to do because we want victories, loses to have some sense. Not like WWE that like you just lose the one day and then the next day all of a sudden you just got a promo and then you get a championship match.
And like building storylines. Like there now, these two are feuding and there's going to be something going on. And then, not it's
You
not
know
like,
that there's going to be some
it's
story
not like
between
just some
the two.
random woman going, "Oh, I deserve a championship
Yes,
match," and they give it to him.
The interaction meant something, so
Yeah.
that's good. So that was the battle royal. Then we have
and the only other thing I want to say about that, I don't know if she's hurt, but Kylie Ray wasn't in there. I don't know if you remember her. I don't know if she's hurt or not. But
I think she's hurt.
Okay.
I think she's hurt. So
yeah, she
for
was
that
the
reason
only
she
one
had
who
to
I was
miss it.
missing.
Yeah, I think because when John Moxley said that he was injured, he joined to her in the people that they couldn't make the pay-per-view because they have other commitments with other companies.
Yeah.
And that's why they just have to miss it. But something that you wanted to say, we did in the previous talk that like Nyla Rose like kept going out of the ring.
Yeah.
You had some comment about that.
just like they didn't. I thought like if you want to build her as a monster, she should have been in there, kind of like how Andre the Giant was back in the day, and he just throwing everybody out, beating everybody up. But I guess it was a good way to showcase the other women.
The other women, but
so she wouldn't have the spotlight the whole battle royal, but. It was just like that's the one thing with AEW. There's just little slight booking and creative ideas that, it's still better than WWE main roster product, but there's little things that are noticeable because of how good everything else is. Then the little things like really stick out that like, kind of.
We're just kind of nitpicking right here. We're not. It's nothing that we're being critical here. We're just trying to say little things that could have been done in a different way.
You need to see Jean Paul review Clash of Champions. Then you'll know.
Well, we'll do Jean Paul reviewing Clash of Champions, and we'll hope Ryan will join us for that too. So we'll have the whole Raw Break team in place, and I think that. Overall, the Battle Royal did what they were supposed to do, was showcase new talent for us, the newer viewers, to see who can we like, who can dislike, who we get behind, and everything. Yeah. So then the next match was
Private Party versus Angelico and Jack Evans, which that was, I think, almost a better tag team match than the one that was on the main card. I really like this match.
Yeah, Private Party is like really good. It's like
they're really
it's
good.
like I want to say like very similar to what the Street Profits are from NXT.
Yeah.
So I feel that like they did a great job when it came to the match. It was back and forth. There was a lot of interactions, really nice spots. And like you said, I think it was better than the tag match that they had in the main show.
Yeah. Because both like the teams were explosive and they had like a good match. I think Private Party. If they would be the first or the AEW Tag Team Champions, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I think they're good. Like they got charisma and they just like they're so smooth. You see them in the ring and the stuff they do is insane.
If they will have to like go on over the Lucha Bros, they will have to go over the Young Bucks. They will have to go a lot of big names. There's a lot of big names that will just have to go over. But potentially you can see them. At some point for sure. There's definitely like a shot.
Yeah.
So it was a great match. I feel that one thing that AEW does is they're still showcasing new tag teams, despite the fact that they have one of I would say the best tag team roster in the world.
Oh,
would you agree with
that?
that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel that it's very interesting how they still create newer tag teams for people to get behind.
Just the tag teams they had on the show is better than any roster.
Any roster,
isn't even all the tag teams.
Even he will say it was better. It will be better than NXT, NXT UK,
yeah.
And of course main roster, because main roster, pretty much is just a joke.
Yeah, they kill the tag teams.
They kill it, and the fact that, for example, they paired up Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode together.
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense. Any sense. So anyway, moving forward, I think we go to the main show, correct?
Yeah, and then that also starts out with that's also a tag team, SCU, and then they're going against the Jungle Boy, Marco Stunt, and Luchasaurus. What did the Jurassic Express or something?
The Jurassic Express, yes, Jurassic Express. That was the name. Great match. We watched it.
Yeah.
It was there's a lot of fans for Jungle Boy.
Oh yeah,
for
that team is hot. Like you made the Rusev Day analogy. That's like what I agree with. They're just
right
on
fire,
and
and like he was saying to me, it's important that they pretty much either, it wouldn't be bad of an idea to make them the tag team champions.
Yeah, that's
because they're on fire. Like there's a lot of people chanting for Luchasaurus.
Yeah, I don't know if people were familiar with him or if it was just the battle royal at Double or Nothing, but people have been hot on this team.
Yes,
since
and
he had a good showing in that
and
battle
Jungle
royal.
Boy, he was really good, despite of the fact they will say that they're small. Like Jungle Boy is like a smaller guy, even smaller than Balor, than Daniel Bryan.
And Marco Stunt is, he looked.
And Marco
like
Stunt is pretty much, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean he was, and that's the thing. I think they wanted to have this match to get SCU to have them get another win, kind of build them up. And Marco Stunt took the pin here, which was good because in the tag team tournament, it'll probably just be 2. I can't imagine it'll be 3 in like a New Day where they choose who they're
it's like it's like a trio, yes. Yeah, 3-man tag.
So with Marco Stunt taking the pin, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy still look strong going into that tournament because neither of them, were the ones eating the pin.
Yeah, it was a good choice because the weakest link to the pin.
Yeah, it was. For SCU to win, that was definitely the best outcome to have Marco Stunt take the pin. But I mean, it was a good match, brutal spots, tons of good tag team moves.
And tons of, people are really behind Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. They were hot throughout the whole match. And
what did I say to you? He reminds me of with his size and how he moves, like a Baron Corbin who can actually wrestle.
Yeah, like a better version of Baron Corbin because the size is kind of like built up in the same way, but the thing is this guy projects charisma.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this guy actually gets people to cheer for him.
Oh yeah.
Rather than Baron Corbin, we hate him or we don't care for him. So, moving on. Oh well, tell me the grade that the CBS is giving to them.
So this got a C+ for this match.
What would you give him, Jean Paul?
I would probably go around about the same, maybe a B- because I'm right with everyone else. I'm real hot on Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. I like them. Marco Stunt being in it and doing the Fortnite floss dance, that kind of shit takes me out of it a little bit. But I mean, it was still a good match. SCU, Christopher Daniels,
Daniels and Kazarian, we know them from Impact. Yeah, they're good. They know what they're doing. They
what
deliver.
those guys are bringing to the table.
Yes, they know. So I feel that I will give it a B- on that.
Yeah, it was a maybe. I don't know if I would open the show with that match. I would maybe open it with something a little hotter. Like I said, the tag team match between Angelico and Jack Evans and Private Party. I think that match was better. That would have been a good first opening match. I thought.
Just to get the crowd hot.
Yeah,
just to get everybody excited about it. But
yeah, and they actually gave that match a higher rating. They gave that a B-.
See, so you can tell that that's what we're trying to say. It goes along the lines of whoever.
Yeah, that just shows the Private Party. Like I said, they're real good.
They came from House of Glory. From So I feel that potentially they could have a really nice run in AEW.
For sure.
Because they do know how to book tag team championship. So after that, what comes?
Then we had Pac and Kenny Omega.
That was surprising, right? To have as the second match in the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I thought that would be later, but like you said, maybe because it wasn't Moxley, and they kind of took away. Everyone was excited for that, and then this was last minute. Maybe they put it on earlier. I don't know what the reasoning was. That kind of didn't make sense.
I would say maybe again, Moxley not being there, kind of for a lot of people that was a bummer. A lot of people were disappointed not to see Moxley, and since they put this match pretty much on the fly, and just to get it out of the way, because there wasn't really much of a storyline.
That's how I felt too. I thought, I was really excited to see this match. Like I said, the promo that Kenny cut on Moxley was amazing, and just their interactions and stuff, and Moxley's new attitude. It was going to be a good match. But then when he got hurt, it's unfortunate, but.
It's unfortunate, and I think, but when it comes to the delivery of the match, did you enjoy this match? Pac and Kenny Omega.
I thought it was a good match. The only thing I didn't like is sometimes the crowd seemed a little dead during some of it.
Yes.
And then they were real hot other times, but they seemed dead. And then just part of the match, the thing with AEW I notice a lot is a lot of spots, huge moves and all this stuff, and it kind of it's going to the outside and all that stuff, which is it's cool and it's nice, but then it like takes a little bit out of it. I don't know, like
It's
going
like
to the
you see
outside.
more pacing.
Yeah.
You see pacing. You see like a lot of storytelling. You
Yeah.
see like they take their time to deliver to the whole match. I feel that like it was good at some points, like we were talking throughout
Mm-hmm.
the match, but I think they fucked up in a few
Oh
things.
yeah, there was a couple. There was that Hurricane Rana spot.
There was a
where
Hurricane Rana
Pac-
that, like, they
he
couldn't
countered
do.
Kenny's, and then he went to do one on Kenny, and he kind of like.
Like,
And
they-
it looked like Kenny countered, but then he threw himself because
Yeah.
he wasn't supposed to. 'cause
Yeah,
it was a-
yeah, they had to do that. They didn't. I will say those two didn't have that much chemistry.
Yeah.
I mean, when it came to the delivery of their own of their spots, it was good, but going to the movement and the flow of the match itself didn't have that much going on, and I was really surprised with the outcome also.
Yeah, and like you said, if you're going just based off the fact that they only had a few days to kind of prepare, it was a good match.
Yes.
And the outcome, like you said, the submission. Well, I mean, I guess he passed out. Really, wouldn't even be a submission.
It was he passed out, so it is
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
submission. But to me, like what I would like to say, and Ryan and I have been mentioned this a long time ago too, is like and you said it too. I remember you said Kurt Angle, when the submission hold is applied, it should last a little longer.
Yeah.
Not this guy is just done after like 2 or 3 seconds of the hold being
Yeah,
applied.
and that's the thing. It was on him for a good maybe 15, 20 seconds,
Seconds.
and I think he passed. Like he didn't tap or nothing. The ref called it, and they
Yeah.
were like, "Oh, this is up." The announcers were saying, "It's up to the ref. It's up to the ref."
And
so
yeah.
to kind of make Kenny still look strong, like, "Oh, he didn't, submit. He didn't tap out," kind of deal. Which, like, I think Pac needed the win more than Kenny, because like I was saying to you, Kenny, he's untouchable.
Yes.
Like he can lose, win 2-3 matches, and everyone
And everybody's behind Kenny
It'll be
Omega
like
again.
it'll be like he never lost.
Yeah.
So I think it was good here. Now, if it was Moxley, who do you think would have won?
I would have given also to Moxley.
That's what I was
I
thinking
would have
too.
given to Moxley, basically because he also needs a win. His first match on AEW, so he
Yeah.
needed a win.
Yeah,
And
because they're not counting the Joey Janela match as because it was an unsanctioned.
It was unsanctioned,
yeah,
so
they're
you
not
know that
counting that as like for his record. So
absolutely,
technically,
that's
yeah.
technically that will be his first, match
Yeah.
on AEW. So I will say that like he needs a win over Kenny Omega also to like catapult his character to main event status, and then going after the champion.
That's
Because
what I was
else?
gonna say,
What else you
'cause
supposed to?
when
do?
it was definitely set. He was like fast track right to the title when he came in and attacked Kenny and Jericho at the end of what was it, Double or Nothing?
Yes, that was Double or
Yeah.
Nothing.
So I was gonna say I could see him being the number one contender, but then with him hurt, I don't know how that
Well, for
switches the
now, we'll see,
storyline. Yeah.
what plays out. But when it comes to match itself, it was decent. What was the grade that they gave it?
They gave that a B+. I mean, there were some like brutal spots, but like Kenny, every time he went for the one-winged angel, it was either countered or he never hit that move, so it was good.
I like the fact that they protect the one-win angel, they protect the finisher. If he hits it, that means it's done. It's 1, 2, 3, and done.
I'm not sure if Pac hit the black arrow or not.
No, he didn't do
Yeah,
it.
that's what I mean,
He
they
didn't
both-
even
yeah.
do that either. So he went for the Rings of Saturn, and that's the submission hold that he does, and that's how the match ended.
Yeah.
But I will say, when it comes to just the pure wrestling match, it was decent. I will not give a B minus or B plus.
yeah.
I will give actually a B minus or a C plus, just for me, because I didn't enjoy it as much. But I will say, just my criteria, just my opinion. Pac is a great wrestler, but when it comes to charisma, doesn't deliver much. You were saying you were watching Adrian Neville on NXT. Do you see any evolution from that to Pac?
I mean, just his appearance. All his moves are the same. Like, he comes out, he's supposed to be the bastard Pac, this nasty heel.
And then
he has this baby face moveset. He's doing flips and doing all this stuff. There wasn't too much. He pulled the ref in front of him. And that was really like the only heel move.
See, that's
stuck
a
out.
great point that he's bringing to the table, is that he should be more heelish like.
Yeah.
He's a bastard.
Yeah,
So
like maybe throw Kenny in the corner, kick him, like stomp his head, into the corner.
try
do stuff.
get
yeah.
a chair,
Yeah.
or like do something. Yeah, to like get Kenny to just weaken.
The match was all high impact, high flying, all this stuff you would expect from these two, but there wasn't really like a story because you couldn't really build to anything.
You
It was a
couldn't
really
build because
impromptu
it
match.
was just an impromptu
Yeah,
match.
that's why I don't want to be too critical of it.
But
it was still good.
It was still good, but I feel that like you said, it's important. It was more important for Pac to get the win because he was supposed to be in the championship match with Hangman Page for the AEW championship, but for some visa problems that he had, they had to do the Battle Royal. Because the championship match was supposed to take place at Double or Nothing.
Now, if I was booking because
Jean Paul Booker.
This is how I would have booked it. Pac still wins the same way. After it's over, I think he kind of submitted him like near a corner.
Yeah.
Pac needs to climb up and hit the Black Arrow on a passed out Kenny.
Yeah.
And then as he's walking out, flip off the crowd,
or give him the finger. Be like,
they love Kenny.
Yeah.
But I think after that match is over, he's climbing on the turnbuckles, raising his hand like he just won the championship.
And also he's smiling.
Yeah.
And heels, he shouldn't
that's what I mean.
smile.
He should have hit his finisher on Kenny and walked out. Like, you submitted to me, I hit my finisher, like, who are you?
And he looked kind of like, to me, he looked a little surprised that he got the win.
Yeah.
So to me, that's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, it was like a little weird. It was a great match, though.
Yeah, so I feel that, like, it was on the fly, so we're going to keep it as that.
Yeah.
And so moving forward to the next match we have.
Jimmy Havoc, Joey Janela, and Darby Allin.
This probably was our favorite match of the night.
Yeah, at least up to this point, it was definitely my favorite. It was a lot, like, a lot of gimmicks, a lot of, weapons and stuff.
And they use all the toys because what was the name? The Cracker Barrel?
Cracker Barrel Clash or something like that.
The Cracker Barrel Clash. It was a hardcore match typical from like the WWE or WWF days when, they have toys surrounded the ring. And actually these three guys use the toys to their advantage to enhance the match.
Yeah, and they were building off from the previous show. It was the three of them tag team or triple, 6-man tag. They lost, and they were all kind of blaming each other. So then they made this match, and I mean it was a good match. Like right from the beginning, they went right outside, taped Jimmy Havoc to a chair.
That is something that you wanted to touch on, correct?
Yeah. Just like a little spots where they put thumbtacks in his mouth after he was taped to the chair, and they couldn't get the tape peeled off right. And he's just sitting there with his mouth closed with thumbtacks in, just like, just waiting for them to tape his mouth shut. Which, that was kind of a little like, why wouldn't he spit them out?
Or like you said, like maybe they should have like a different angle, something that we're not really checking on that.
Have the camera angle where it's maybe at the back to Janela, and then he's blocking Jimmy Havoc, so then you can't see, that he's just sitting there with his mouth closed.
Yeah, I would agree to that.
Or I don't know I don't know exactly where Darby Allin was, but they could have had him like holding his mouth shut while the other Janela was getting the tape ready.
Yeah, so there were some spots that, like I said, this is kind of like, see, that's what Jean Paul LEeck does. His attention to detail, and that's what like he's bringing to the table. So I feel that like little things like he was telling to me. Kevin Dunn knows how to move those angles, so people do not kind of like see things that are pretty obvious.
Like I guess as much as we hate him, he can hide some imperfections in matches, and the camera angle sometimes really set up.
It's a big helper for the to like for the viewer not to like see what's really
for a legitimacy in the match.
Yeah,
because sometimes a wrong camera angle will make a move that's devastating look like nothing. Because you're seeing the guy's head's not even hitting the ground or this or that.
Exactly. So but then other than that, like they use the thumbtacks, the spotlight they use the skateboard.
Oh yeah,
that was absolutely
when Darby
amazing.
Allin had the
Darby
skateboard.
Allin with Joey Janela, and we want to mention something that he actually brought up to a really nice point that like Joey Janela, he's not a typical ripped guy. He's a little bit of a god. He's not completely ripped, but he can put up really great matches.
Oh yeah, well, that's like his hardcore style. He's not going in there to be a Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, he's not like the rippest guy in the roster, but yet he delivers great matches. And one of the spots that for me I really enjoyed was the skateboard once again, the thumbtacks, and also how they use the barrels. Yeah, how like what was the guy that
Darby Allin did the coffin drop?
Did the coffin drop. That's his finisher, and Jimmy Havoc moved and completely hit the ring.
When I was seeing that for the first time, I didn't know that Havoc moved, and I'm like, he killed him.
Yeah.
He hit that barrel, and I'm like, where'd he go? And then he like moves, and I'm like, oh, it was crazy.
It was absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
and then you told me he moved, and I'm like, oh yeah, because I really think that like he crashed him.
You're like, where'd he go?
He crashed him, so it was great.
And then that chair spot with Janela, where he flipped him in the
monkey flip, yes.
And he's sitting there, and he's just smiling. That was a great spot.
See, those three guys can put, and that's is you might not say it's pure wrestling, but at least it's a good sportsmanship, like show like of spots. Like you said, but it's not overly done. It's actually enjoyable to see. And once again, like they use a lot of the toys to their advantage, because see, that's what WWE doesn't do anymore. They hype the toys, but they don't use them then. At least these guys were able to use that.
Yeah, like they'll pull in WWE. I feel they'll pull out the stuff, they'll tease it, they'll get the crowd real excited, and then they'll be like, "Nah, we're not gonna do that."
Yeah, we're not gonna do.
Yeah,
we're not gonna do anything. So I feel that like at the end, it was really good, but then Jimmy Havoc hit his finisher.
Yeah, well, it was two barrels. So Darby Allin did the coffin drop with the one, destroyed that. Then the other one was brought in, and he had Janela on the top rope. He did like a superplex or super brain buster or whatever it was.
It was super brain buster, superplex.
And then he hit him, but he only hit his leg on the barrel. I feel like he was supposed to hit his back.
But because of the landing, But at least Janela was able to.
He sold everything.
He sold that.
He was grabbing his leg, shaking.
He adapted right away.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about him, I think he's good. I'm a fan of his.
I think he's good. Yeah.
Yeah, all the guys in the match. Like I said, I wasn't too hot on Jimmy Havoc or Darby Allin, but after this match, I like both of them.
They look alike, like you said. Like Jimmy Havoc is like the older version of Darby.
Yeah, I mean, if this was WWE, they would be slapped together in a tag team instantly. Which is stupid,
you're right.
But then he hit after that kind of, I wouldn't even say botched superplex, but it was just a little out of position. Then he hits his Rainmaker on it, and
the lariat, Dreammaker for some others. I would say Rainmaker, and then he got the win.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
I think he needed the win the most, because I mean, people know who he is in the Indies, but I mean, in AEW, I really didn't know who he is, and like he's an older guy, and not to get lost in the shuffle with these younger guys. So I think I wanted Janela to win going into it. Like I said, I'm a fan of his, but I think they made the right choice. I think it was a pretty good match.
This guy at least
like a hardcore.
He knows how to do business, not like Paul LeBeck, that he will always put himself over. But anyway, I feel that like he said, Jimmy Havoc needed it. Something that I would like to see from AEW to do is maybe bring like a hardcore championship, or like a version of like a hardcore championship.
And I agree, they definitely need like a mid-card title, because you can't have everybody fighting for one championship.
Yes.
But the thing with that is, I know they said, we're not going to do hardcore all the time. We're not going to have it be blood and guts. So they might not want to promote something like that. But they could work around it.
But it's a way for these guys, this middle and the mid-card guys to fight for something.
Yeah, and even though they were beating each other up, the main event was bloodier than this. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There wasn't really that much blood in this match.
Exactly. Like this match did not feature any blood.
No, I mean maybe a little bit in the thumbtacks.
But because it's come on, it's like your thumbtacks are going into your skin. Yeah. You're not gonna bleed.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Nobody was blading or anything.
Yeah, crazy. None of that. So I feel it was a great match. What was the grading for this match?
They gave that a B-, which I would B-.
I
would agree with that.
I will give a B, because it was like, to me, I enjoyed this match more than the other ones.
Yeah, and then the next match was the Dark Order versus the Best Friends, and I wasn't too big on this match. I like the Dark Order, and the Best Friends aren't bad, but again, this is the first time I'm seeing a lot of these people, and they're not I think once they have the TV show, and we can actually build storylines and see these guys every week, every other week, whatever.
Get exposure from these guys, get to know them.
Right now, it's just like, 2K19, you're just playing exhibition matches.
Yes.
It's like, who are these guys? There's no real story, and I don't need a whole, 20-minute backstory on every wrestler, but just kind of know where they're coming from to get behind them.
Yes. I agree with you. I feel that like one thing that like AEW has is like the tag team division is huge.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much depth.
Teams.
There's so much depth.
Yeah, and this match was for the first round bye in the tag team tournament.
Yeah,
there's the Dark Order. I mean, they got, the minions or whatever they're called, the creepers, I think, the creepers.
Yes.
So, like, they have, I could see them being in the finals. I don't see them winning it. I feel like they're going to, because with Jericho being a heel, I think they're going to have another champion be,
they need to be some faces for the tag team division.
Definitely Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus would be a good face team for that.
I will agree with that, because they need a tag team that everybody's invested in, and that's Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
But they won here. I mean, there was some, false finishes here and there, like all these matches. But to me, the clear-cut victor was the Dark Order, the way they're building them. And I know AEW is real hot on them. They want them, to succeed. And
we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of depth.
There's so many tags.
There's a lot of depth that, like, you could actually build this, like, the old school mentality that, like, at some point, each tag each tag team gets a shot.
Yeah,
Or you can have like a three-way dance, like a multiple tag.
And that's the thing. As much as I love all the singles competitors in this, the tag teams. You name a tag team, and I'm more likely than not going to be like, oh, I like this tag team. But I think they can win. SCU, Private Party, Jungle Boy, the Lucha Brothers, Young Bucks. All of them. Most of these tag teams. They have so much anywhere they go.
Exactly. You see, and that's important because there's so much depth that you can actually tell stories and again rebuild like number one contender matches between them and things like that. So it's very important, and also like you can build rivalries, and the championship doesn't need to be on the line anymore. So for that reason, I feel that AEW is doing something that again WWE has completely forgotten. That is like have a strictly main agenda when it comes to tag team.
Yeah. And I think the best part about this match was probably the ending after they lost and then Orange Cassidy came out.
Oh, Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, and he did a dive through the rope.
Yes, absolutely. The
with
debut,
hands in the pockets and stuff.
That's a big point that he's bringing up. The debut of Orange Cassidy, one of the latest signs from AEW. Great guy in the indies. I've seen a few matches from him. His main thing is like he doesn't use his arms.
Yeah,
he just fights with the legs.
He doesn't care. He's like, nonchalant. I don't care. I don't want to be here.
And he was like he was the champion of a small company.
His style is lucha libre. Like he's really good lucha libre wrestler.
So he's like Mexican. For the ones that don't know, like Rey Mysterio, like Grand Metalik, Kalisto, lucha libre style, AAA style. So.
Yeah. So I don't know if he was in a promotion, maybe like out in California or somewhere.
Or like he went to Mexico. Yeah, AAA.
Yeah, but they say he can go.
But
his gimmick is that he doesn't.
He doesn't. He doesn't use his hands or arms.
Yeah.
He uses mainly his legs. That's his gimmick, and like he doesn't care.
And I liked it how he came out and kind of helped them, and then the best friends, that they hugged them then, because then you kind of set up that they're like a 3-man team to go against like Jungle Express or SCU.
Yes.
But they can also just be the two of them for the tag team tournament. I like how they're building this. These like I wouldn't call them staples, but just like little groups.
But it will be nice also to have staples because that's something that we don't have anymore. No. And it will be going against each other, creating long feuds and things like that.
WWE only does the cool staples on the house shows, and we don't get to see
it. Yeah, we don't get to see them. Exactly right. So excellent. And
they gave that a C-. I would say that's probably a fair rating. Maybe I don't even know if I'd go a C-. I'd probably give it a C.
Just because of Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, the ending was cool. And like I said, Evil Uno, I love the Dark Order. I think they're cool. I like the gimmick and all that.
See, for example, in this, we're not extremely overrated in, joy for this, but I think it was good. Mm-hmm. It delivered what it's supposed to be doing. That is setting the tournament for the tag team.
But I will say, though, Private Party, that the match that they had was better than this match. But I understand why this one had to be on the main card. It was for the first round bye.
Yeah, you're promoting the tournament.
Yeah, but I think just overall quality, that match was better.
Yeah. All right, moving along, we have...
There was to determine one of the contenders for the women's championship, Riho and Shida. Hikaru Shida.
Yep, and then it was to determine the next competitor. For the women's
Nyla Rose.
Who faces Nyla Rose for the Bacon or for the inaugural once again women's AEW championship. It was a great match. I feel that like something that Jean Paul brought to the table is important to mention that she is really tiny.
Yeah, they said Riho is only 98 pounds.
Riho is really, really tiny.
Yeah, and you can see that in some of the moves. Just like there's no
power.
Yeah, there's no strength behind the moves.
There's no strength. There's no impact when she hits. Whereas, like for example, somebody that could be same size Kairi Sane, you hear the power when she strikes. And so, when it comes to her, to me, it doesn't seem that believable.
And I don't know if that's because, like, I know when Kairi was in Japan, she was heel. Maybe not all the time, but I know she played a heel.
Yes.
So I don't know if that has something to do with, like, the, ferocity and stuff behind the moves. And if Riho is clearly, like, baby face 100%, she don't look heel at all.
To me, she's like, to me, it's like, I will say, and please, don't hate. And if you do, keep hating me. It's like a cheap version of Kairi Sane.
Yeah.
Because always like smiling, like flowy, and like I'm a good girl and all of that. But I mean, I think she's a good wrestler. She can put really good moves. But when it comes to like ferocity and strength and striking force, you don't see it there.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, the thing is, we don't know anything about these people unless you know everything there is to know about wrestling. You're not going to know the backstory, and everything about.
You don't
you're
know
not
the
gonna
complete
You're not going
backgrounds.
to be invested in these characters just yet.
Yes.
But I think it was a good match. The crowd wasn't into it, and that goes back to what I just
Back
said.
to it's because we don't know them.
Yeah, you need to build these people and build, the fan interest.
And
in
you're
them.
and like you said, the big helper is going to be the show, the weekly show, and then we'll be able to know who they are. They will be able to see promos from them and what can they do, because like we just see a match from them, we're just not going to know, and then we're not going to be invested, and that's pretty much what happened. The crowd was dead.
Yeah, and like it ended. I don't even know what Riho's finish is, because she kind of just like rolled.
It was a package.
Yeah,
it was
she
a roll
rolled her up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was roller up. Nothing really,
Yeah,
out of
and I'm not a fan of if a match ends in a roll up, I'm usually not too happy.
See, so
I like
fine.
to hit a finisher and then end it, or like a DQ, whatever kind of finish is
So
gonna be.
Ryan, if you're watching, there you go. We found somebody that actually likes the way I think. So
Yeah,
because
I'm not
Ryan is he doesn't mind when there's a roll up or something like that.
Because when I
But
watch a Bret Hart match and then he rolls up Diesel, I'm like, come on, like put him in the sharpshooter.
put him in it needs to be finisher and
Yeah.
done. Finisher and done. That's how it's
But-
supposed to end. So there you go. Shout out to you, Ryan.
And then Nyla came out at the end. You had a good little stare down. I think it'll be a good match. But we did kind of see it before in that triple threat match.
We saw already pieces of it.
Yeah.
We saw what they can do.
So I think it'll be good, especially because you got like the underdog. Because
you have the underdog background
the
storyline.
underdog baby face, and I mean, who do you think will win that match?
When it comes to like who will you believe it? I will say Rose.
You're gonna say, is that who you pick to win?
I will say yeah, because you need to be somebody that is really strong.
See, I'm going Riho.
See, there you go. We have already a bet. Robrick is
I
bet.
say Riho because, like I said, a babyface champion. I think you got to get at least one, just to kind of crowd loves a babyface. Jericho, it don't matter. He's heel. They love him. But,
Jericho is untouchable.
Yeah, Jericho is
Another is
Jericho.
untouchable.
But I think you need to kind of have some babyface champions. I wouldn't be surprised if Rose wins, but like I said to you, Riho is the favorite female partner that Kenny likes to work with. Not saying there's political pull, but
They might be some.
Might be a little political
we're not
pull.
saying that there's political pull, but we're not saying Robrick is not saying that. But I mean the fact that she's number one contender, and well, to me again, Rose is because she's more believable.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you want to have a champion that one of the things that you want to set yourself aside apart from WWE is just have believable champions.
Yeah.
People that will make the title prestige.
yeah, to me she's like a Nia Jax. Again, like I said about Luchasaurus being Baron Corbin who can
Yeah.
wrestle, she's like a smaller Nia Jax who can wrestle.
But who can wrestle better?
Yeah, she's
Who
good.
will not injure people and who will not break anybody's faces.
Yeah.
And is not related to The Rock. So we will see. I hope it's a good match, and I feel that it's gonna benefit for the credibility of the inaugural women's AEW's
and
championship.
another thing to touch on before we move on to the next match, I think because they're going to have a lot of focus with these Japanese women, I think it's good to get them in the spotlight and get the fans behind them, because that's going to be a main focus. So I understand the pushing and all that. So we'll see where it goes.
We'll see where it
yeah.
goes.
Yeah,
We'll see where it goes.
I'm definitely more excited than I am worried and cautious about it.
Oh yeah, for example, I'm actually excited about what's going to happen, especially
Yeah.
for example, they can bring even more women will come. So,
But the only thing I will say though, I do want to see a little more intensity out of Riho, because if she is as light and the way in this match, Nyla should win in a minute.
yeah, exactly.
I mean?
It should be a force. It would be it would just squash match. It
Yeah.
should be quick. Should be a few shots and finisher and done.
Yeah.
All right, moving along to the next match. This is the review of
So
AEW's All Out.
This is actually the match I was looking forward to the most, and it actually almost upset me the most, but it was still good. And that is Cody and Shawn Spears.
Cody Rhodes versus Shawn Spears. And tell us why you were so behind Shawn Spears.
Well, I recently have been getting into watching old NXT, and I've seen, the Dead Perfect 10.
Tyler
Yeah.
Dillinger.
Yeah, Ty Dillinger, and he was over in NXT. He was over with me, how many exactly. He was great, and I think he's a good wrestler. Saw his interview with Chris Van Vliet. If you guys haven't watched it, check it out. Good interview. You find out a lot about him, why he left, and more bullshit with WWE
Well,
going on.
mainly, yeah. Like when
Yeah.
he went to the main roster,
Yeah.
he was never featured. He was always featured just in the Royal Rumble, just because of the 10, and they used the perfect 10 gimmick, and that was it. And the
Yeah.
guy was underutilized. They didn't see anything in him, and the guy was really over in NXT.
Yeah, he talked about, I think it was AJ Styles, or I might be wrong, but somebody, when there was that match, it was him, Corbin, it was AJ and Corbin for the U.S. title, and then they just put Dillinger in there.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember
Yes,
that.
yes. Yeah, I remember
One of them
that.
pulled for him because they're like, I mean, it was a way for, I think Dillinger ate the pin, so then both guys looked strong.
Yeah, so they look strong, yeah.
But they were like, this guy can go, like, put him in the thing. Like, I think AJ was pulling for him.
Well, it's because AJ also knows how to do business.
Yeah.
And AJ also knows, if you think about it, he knows how to work in the smaller promotion. He knows what it is to, not being featured on a main,
And Dillinger had a pretty decent showing, and you think, oh, now they'll do something with him.
And they never
don't
did.
do nothing.
They never pulled the trigger on him.
Yeah, so-
he
and-
was always, like an afterthought.
Yeah.
He was always like somebody that will never have a decent run.
You could say he was a good hand, which is what led into this.
Yes.
Cody called him a good hand. He came out and delivered that chair shot. I loved it. I loved every minute of it when he cracked him with the chair. I thought it was great. I thought this match was great, or was like, it was a good match. But leading up to it, all the promos and everything, I thought it was great.
Anyway, your thoughts about you talk about a little bit of the background of Sean Spears and what do you like
Yeah.
about him and everything. But so in the match itself,
Yeah, this is one of the things where I thought AEW did it right, building to this match. There was the story, all the continuity with Darby Allin and Cody going the time limit. And then, he couldn't beat him, but Cody pinned Darby Allin in that 6-man tag match.
Mm-hmm.
So there was definitely, the storyline continued, which is something I like to see.
Yes,
It
yeah.
all made sense.
Yeah, and they kept revisiting those things that kind of shots at WWE, the good hand,
Yeah.
and why Sean Spears did it. And there is something that I want you to touch on, because you said a lot of people reacted really bad when he did the chair shot.
Yeah, like what I heard, all on the internet, people are like, oh, I can't believe this chair shot. It was so bad. It was so brutal. Oh my, why would they do this? This was stupid to book this and whatnot. You act like Cody wasn't like, oh yeah, go ahead, hit me with a like Cody knew.
Yeah.
He didn't put his hands up. He wanted to sell this shot and make it look as brutal
As
to
possible.
get all this heat on Sean Spears. You wanted heat on him.
He's putting over.
And look, boom, he got that heat. He's laying there in a puddle of his blood. Brandy's all upset. Everybody's upset. You got the heat on Sean Spears, and that mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
And like I said to you, how many shots did Dusty take?
Yeah, so many
know
of
what I
them.
mean.
And then and for example, in 2 seconds, the guy is relevant.
Mm-hmm.
He goes from being a nobody, he goes to being an absolute loser, a member of Titus Karen,
Yep.
and then to boom,
Exactly.
everybody knows who Sean Spears is now. And even the thought of Ty Dillinger is completely forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have a brand new guy in Sean Spears, and then you partner him with Tully, and he's great.
Yeah, that's another thing with the storytelling. They said, Tully Blanchard probably has the most wins over Dusty Rhodes than any other person. Ric Flair, whoever. Tully Blanchard has the most.
And see that you were doing contemporary version of that.
Yeah.
And then you want to do the same thing, going Sean Spears against Cody.
Yeah.
So it's great.
It was definitely good storytelling.
You can tell that the AEW, the writing, whoever's doing the writing is paying attention to smaller details.
Yeah.
And is putting all the dots together. And the
But-
match itself was really good.
Yeah, the match was good. You had a lot of, spots with Tully getting involved. And, distracting Earl Hebner.
Errol Hebner as the referee, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
also
that-
old
that
school,
old school, yeah.
old school vibe. Or they have Diamond Dallas Page coming out, MJF.
Yeah, and that was the thing. He could only have one person in his corner, so it was like, who's he gonna pick? Brandy. They even made a joke. Oh, is he gonna pick Pharaoh? The dog?
Yeah,
You know
he's
what I
gonna be
mean?
the
Yeah.
dog. So you
But-
can tell there was a lot of elements in place.
but he
for
picked MJF, which also goes with the story. MJF and Sean Spears had a little back and forth. They were on the same team in that tag team match, so there was definitely a lot of consistency.
Oh
which
yeah,
was good.
I will say that. Yeah, it was a great storytelling. And you could see how Sean Spears, even with the contacts, he looked like a different man.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah,
match
he did.
itself-
He looked legit.
Yeah, he looked legit. Yeah, I believe it when he came out, and then I love the part when Tully just lifted
The hood.
I love that
Yeah.
part.
The
To
whole
me,
entrance was good.
I mean, I will say out of the two, I love Sean Spears way better than Cody's.
Yeah.
A little too Star Trek for me when it came to Cody, but at the end, Arn Anderson goes out. He
Yeah,
delivered
with
a nice spine buster.
Yeah, that was a good.
So that was great too. That was a shot at WWE also. If you guys don't think why, is the reason behind it is because Arn Anderson got fired.
Yeah, it was over something stupid at like a house show.
It was over. Alicia
weird.
Fox shows
Yeah.
up. She's drunk, and he let her wrestle. So that's why they
I mean,
fired.
in his day, who wasn't drunk?
I mean,
you know what I mean? Yeah,
or
yeah,
high,
yeah.
or over
On
any
some
kind of stuff, and
painkillers or
all of a
something.
sudden you want to act like they never did this. So
Yeah.
anyway, but
Yeah,
the match itself was absolutely great.
Yeah, I mean, they were out for blood. It was a brutal match. When he took Cody's weight belt and he's whipping him with that.
And we whipping right in the head. So it was great. And at the end, the thing that pissed you off, Cody gets the win.
Yeah, I thought that if anybody needed a win on this show, it was Shawn Spears. All this, and it wasn't a thing where it's like, oh, he was desperate for a win. Now that he lost, he's going to fade to obscurity. They're still going to take care of him, I feel. And he'll still be in a good
we hope,
spot.
because
Yeah.
he delivered. I mean, there's a lot of future in Shawn Spears, but like Jean Paul is saying, it was important to see him getting the win because that makes him a bigger star. And for example, a possible contender for the championship or like a better feud. Let's say maybe Moxley when he comes back, Omega. Something different.
Like, the only thing that I'm worried about is just where does he go from here? Because if he beats Cody, he should have beat him in some kind of BS way, where not like a clean finish. Then you can keep that feud going and, build from there. Now that he lost, you could almost say that the feud's done. Because Cody essentially won clean. He ate the spine. Shawn Spears ate the spine buster from Arn Anderson, but the match didn't end right there.
Yeah.
They still fought back and forth a little bit.
Unless he keeps coming out of Cody, we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
We'll see
where it goes.
But
But like you said, he lost clean. So
so I don't know where he goes from here. Does he feud with MJF? Did they feud him with someone?
Somebody different, or like the stable from Cody? Like it was the Nightmare Family. That's what it's called. So
so we'll see where he goes.
We'll see where it goes.
But I really hope
he
doesn't, because like I said to you, if he doesn't do anything. Why do you even leave WWE?
Yes,
exactly. You could have at least stayed with your wife.
What? Yeah, well, Payne and Rose. Yeah. In the Iconics. What was the?
They gave this a B-.
I will agree with that. I will agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree, and
you will give it even lower because the outcome wasn't the one you wanted.
No, I still liked it. It was still a good match. There was still a lot of spots made me pop. With Tully mixing it up. Like.
I love when they got into El Hebner's phase and everything. He came coming back at it.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the old days.
Yeah,
so
it was a good match.
Yeah. So the next we have, I think, is the ladder match.
Yep, the
tag team ladder match. AAA Tag Team Championship. Lucha Bros against the Young Bucks. What can you say about these four guys?
I mean, they beat the hell out of each other.
They beat the hell out of each other. Yeah. Extreme brutal spots. Pile drivers on tables.
On chairs.
Chairs.
I don't know which one of the Bucks it was, but he hit it. They did some flip. I don't know if it was a Canadian destroyer or some kind of just pile driver, but his head right on the step.
Right on the step.
You heard that thud.
It was great, yep. And I think it was Nick.
Yeah.
I think it was Nick, that did that.
And then the table spot where Pentagon pushed him off the ladder.
Pushed him on the ladder. And
he tripped on the rope.
To me, and something that when he unmasked Pentagon.
Yeah.
That was something that to me was like, oh, okay. What's going on here?
Yeah, when I saw that, I mean, just me, with masked wrestlers and stuff, I was like, that was a little bullshit, but you didn't see his face, so it was okay. If he would have unmasked him, it would have been camera shot, his whole face, I would have been like, this is stupid.
It is. But
because I respect the mask.
Do you think it was planned, or do you think it was, just like...
No, I think it was planned, because I think these two teams will feud forever.
Yes.
They will feud until they retire.
I will say, they can always go back to this feud. Mm-hmm. They're already 1-on-1, so they can always have another one.
Yeah, and you pull off his mask. You keep the heat, the animosity still between these two teams. Pulling off the mask, that's just another thing to keep.
Just to embarrass Pentagon, and in a way to be like, hey, we're better than you.
Yeah.
And we took away your honor.
Yeah,
because the mask is everything.
Because of how much they went against each other and they wrestled each other in the past. I feel like everything was planned. All these spots were planned.
Yeah.
The botches, you can't help for that.
For example, the botch that you will say when I think it was Nick that went and remember his head went right to the table. He should have dived a little higher.
I think that's when Pentagon. I think he was the one who pushed the ladder. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was right when he put his mask back on or something. Or
he was still covering his face. Yeah.
So he pushed the ladder and was it Nick?
Yeah.
His foot got caught on the ropes. Instead of jumping, he just kind of fell off the ladder, which made it maybe a little more legit. You know, he's like holding on for dear
But
life.
kind of dangerous also.
Yeah,
Because
'cause-
like you were kind of like, he could have landed really bad.
Yeah, it would have been better if he jumped and landed his body on the second table. His like head hit just the second table, and it like hit the wire frame you saw when it broke. Like the first table broke. It was definitely wasn't a good landing, but.
But yeah, at the end, you know, the Lucha Bros get the win.
Yeah,
it was important because that way they're still 1-on-1. They keep the titles.
Yeah, the right team won, in my opinion, in this match. Because the Young Bucks, they go into the same boat as Omega and everyone else from the Elite. They're untouchable.
They're untouchable, and you could call it politics if they always win too.
Yeah,
because it's their company.
Which I think that I don't agree with too much, because you're not going to have these guys who are superstars lose all the time because they're scared of the politics being called. So like if they win, it needs to make sense. If they lose, it needs to make sense. That's how I look at it.
I agree with you. I think.
Yeah. So like in this show, if we're going over the Elite real quick, Kenny losing I think makes sense. I think Cody should have lost. I would say the Elite should have.
It should have all lost because they're trying to put over new guys.
Yeah, just for the story, because the story called for it. But they gave this match an 8. Oh, we gotta talk about the ending.
Oh
Who
yeah.
came out at the end.
At the end is the debut of LAX. Santana and Ortiz, the Puerto Rican tag team, made his debut at AEW. We knew that like people in the community, they were teasing it because they said that like in the first episode of AEW, and they're going to be tag teaming with Jericho against Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. So there was a lot of speculation that they were going to be there, and in the end they deliver. And there you go, another big name, another big tag team joining the tag team division for AEW.
Yeah, they should. And who's not to say that, like, because they have all these working relations with other promotions. What if they would beat the Lucha Bros for the AAA titles? You know what I mean? This could be whole.
This is a whole
story
partnership,
led.
yeah. And then,
yeah,
you know,
and
for
that's
some,
what I like, how they introduce these other titles. Like it's a cool thing to kind of promote these other promotions that we might not be familiar with.
Exactly, and also like for example, the titles can be defended, and they did at Triple Mania.
Yeah.
So like they have so many ways to keep promoting the product outside of their own promotion. So that's really great, and that's something that WWE should have done years ago. But they always try to like not acknowledge any outside promotion, whereas AEW actually welcomes new promotions and they work with them. So that was great, and they gave an A.
Yeah, A- to that.
A-, I will say, just for minor things, but in the end, the match delivered. I mean, these guys are just tearing the house down.
Yeah, like
they
they
just
do.
keep tearing the house down.
It's what you expect. If you've seen one match from these guys, you know what to expect. If it doesn't steal the show, it'll come close.
It will come close, exactly.
Yeah.
So this takes us to the main event. Then that was Hangman Page going against the Painmaker, the Ayatollah of Rock and Roller, the guy that has the list, the leader from Fozzy, Chris
And after
Jericho.
this match, AEW will never be the same
Again, exactly, right? So Chris Jericho versus Hangman Page for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Did they deliver for you?
For what Jericho can do and everything they set up for, I think it delivered. Because like we said, it wasn't a match like Pac and Kenny where, you know, they're doing crazy wrestling moves.
Like fast-paced.
Yeah, it wasn't fast-paced, crazy action, but this match wasn't set up like that. These guys wanted to just beat the shit out of each other. They hated each other. They want, you know, that's what it was. It was a slugfest.
Yes. Yeah, it was just very pretty much create this rivalry over the championship, but also hatred. Because Jericho attacked Hangman Page on Double or Nothing and Fight for the Fallen and all of that.
And like in the promos were great. Just like
you love the promo that I need to win.
Yeah,
I need to win.
Promo, it was perfect because what he was saying in it wasn't just, you know, a gimmick for the show. You know, it was real. Yeah. He needed to win
to keep his legacy alive.
To keep his legacy and also to put this promotion over.
Yes.
You know, like AEW is if you didn't think it was legit, you know, would Chris Jericho be the champion? Now it's legit. Yeah.
Exactly. Like it brought so much legitimacy because you need a guy like Jericho that is worldwide known.
Yeah.
And also, like, everybody knows how good of a legend.
Yeah, because my dad, he don't know anything about wrestling. And I was telling him, oh, I'm watching this new promotion, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, who's wrestling? And I'm like, oh, the only one you would probably know is Chris Jericho. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I know, I heard of him.
Exactly.
My dad knows nothing. The last time he watched wrestling was the 60s. You know what I mean? But he knows who everyone knows.
And if you're, like, for example, not a wrestling fan, but you're a music fan and you like metal, you know
Fozzy.
And the fact that he comes out with Judas, that's also great because he promotes the band. That's his theme and it's badass. I will say the entrance wasn't too crazy for me. I love the entrance from him on Double or Nothing when he showcased all his different gimmicks from the past.
No, I did like Hangman Page coming out on the horse. That
On
was
the
pretty.
horse,
That was pretty cool.
It was really cool. See, exactly. Like, see, AEW kind of gives and not gives when it comes to entrances. But I think in this case, Hangman Page got the upper hand when it comes to entrances. But the match itself, it was a slower pace, the kind of match that Jericho is doing nowadays. Because, for example, he's done the same thing with Omega, with Naito, with Hangman Page at this point, and again with Omega with number 2. It's like he's more methodic. You see 2 or 3 moves, and then you see a pause, and then you take it back again. But in this match, you saw blood. He bladed.
Yeah, there was a spot. I forget which move he hit him with, but then he kind of like, the ref was checking on Jericho, and then he rolled out to the ring, and then when he popped his head back up, it was just gushing out.
It was just gushing out, and we see a little bit of it, which was good. Because some matches, we've said this in the show before, you need a little bit of blood to make the story more believable, to get the crowd engaged, to give more legitimacy, make it more real. One thing that I would like to mention to you that is important: a woman was the referee for a World Heavyweight title match.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like that was probably the first time.
That was a first,
at
and
least
that's
for like a
interesting.
men's championship.
And that's something, for example, the AEW does it, but they don't mention it.
Yeah,
They don't first time ever, or they don't say it every 5 seconds.
Yeah, you don't got like Michael Cole, or I guess in this case like Excalibur on the mic every 5 seconds. This is a woman for the first time.
Yes.
Trying to like push the agenda.
You're just like him, pushing agenda, or they're just like saying like till it loses its meaning.
You could have a woman, you could have anybody refereeing this match, as long as they do their job. But once you push the agenda, that's when you get people to hate it.
Exactly. So I think the match itself, it was good, nice spots. Hangman Page did his thing.
Yeah, like I said to you earlier, Hangman, he reminds me like he's gonna be AEW Stone Cold. That's how they're building.
Is that why?
And not even like his look, because he has the vest and he's cowboy this and that, but just he's that rough, tough, he don't give a shit, that badass, baby face. And he came out, he looked strong, but he lost. So next time they see Hangman, the crowd will be hot for him.
Oh, yeah.
Because they want him.
Yeah, and at some point he will win. He will be the champion.
And how was early Stone Cold? Get there, lose. Get there, lose.
Yeah, he didn't become like out of in one night, like he became a superstar.
Yeah.
And like you said, one big loss made him a star.
Yeah.
Because when Bret Hart beat him at WrestleMania 13, then he became Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was already hot.
Yeah.
But that he became a superstar. He became a fan favorite.
Yeah, he won the Royal Rumble 98 or no
97.
97.
He wins, and
but then he don't even win the champion. He gets
didn't
nothing out of it.
Yeah, he gets nothing out of it because the championship match was The Undertaker against Psycho Sid. But again, this match was good for what it was. One thing that like we both agree on is that Jericho shouldn't be winning with the Judas effect.
No, we like the Judas effect. If he wants that to be his signature, I mean, you hit him with that Judas effect, then they're standing there all stunned, code breaker, perfect.
Done, yeah. But like the Judas effect itself to me is not much believable.
Yeah,
win with a code breaker.
Yeah.
Win with a code breaker, or made him top.
Yeah, I mean, he hit the code breaker a couple of times. Like when Hangman jumped to the outside and then he hit the code breaker. Yeah. That was good. He hit a code breaker when he attacked him at, what was it, Fight for the Fallen?
Yeah, it's Fight for the Fallen. He hit the code breaker. Yeah, like to me, his finisher needs to be the code breaker. I like the sequence that you mentioned. Go with the Judas effect, and he's groggy, and by being groggy, you go and you hit the code breaker, and it's done.
And I think now with Jericho being like bigger, because he's older and whatever, when he hits the code breaker, I feel like it looks almost more devastating because he's a bigger body pulling you down onto his knees.
Exactly.
So it looks even more devastating now than it did, 10 years ago.
I will say that. It's becoming, he's a little bigger, so for that reason, like it's more devastating of a move. And when it hits well, when it's performed well, it looks so great.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know how to take the code breaker, and I would say one of them is Kenny Omega. But in this case, Hangman Page knew how to take it.
Yeah. This Judas effect he hit to win was better than I've seen him hit it before. But he hit it and he fell, and then there was a few seconds
that he took to do the pin.
And I was like, oh, okay, Hangman's kicking out. He ain't winning and it was pinned. And I was,
yeah.
Whether that was time constraints or, well, probably not. I don't know. That was probably just the booked ending.
Because the pay-per-view was like 5 hours long.
Yeah, if you count the buy-in. Because they're probably just trying to get the Judas effect over.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
But I mean, it's like Jericho, if you're listening to us, please change and go back to the code breaker.
Yeah.
It is good. What was the grading for this?
They gave this a B, which I would say is a good rating for it. Like it was Jericho's current Jericho's pace, which is a good pace. He's playing that heel. He's like that slow, methodical. He'll beat you up and then stand there, and he doesn't go right after and keep it fast paced. But that's what we come to expect.
Exactly.
From him. And Hangman delivered. He's good, but he hit the dead eye on him, didn't he?
Did it, yeah, and Jericho kicked out.
And he kicked out. That's one thing that's like a little sketchy.
But see, to me, when it comes in a championship match, if you kicked out of your main finisher, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's a championship match.
Yeah.
If you watch, The Rock kicking out of the start.
Yeah, or Michaels and Taker.
Michaels and Taker, it makes the match more legit. It
Yeah.
makes it more real. But if you start doing it all over again, then is when it becomes like, okay, my finisher doesn't work for it.
Yeah. I think he kicked out of it once.
Yeah, he kicked out of once. He
that's
tried to do it again, and that's where he countered.
Yeah,
and then he
yeah.
did a Judas effect, and that was it.
Yeah, so I guess if he would have kicked out of it more than once, then we could call it. But...
Yeah, we can hear like the finisher is not being taken.
And I mean, he's the best in the universe.
So
I don't know what.
And there's no. To me, Jericho is in my top 3 of best of all time.
Sure.
The guy knows how to he's the Madonna of wrestling. He knows how to recreate himself so many times, and I'm so happy that he's the champion because AEW is starting with the right foot. And I'm not saying that to diminish in Hangman Page. I'm just saying that you needed a guy that is legit and is well known, so you give your promotion more exposure, and that way the promotion actually have more validity.
Yeah, and if you don't count, Kenny and the young Bucks and whoever else you like, I would say Hangman's probably their number one.
I will say that. I will say after Kenny Omega, Hangman Page is the number one face.
Yeah, you throw Moxley in there, but with him missing the show, I feel hurts his stock a little bit. Now, when he comes back, he'll be hotter than ever.
He will be hotter, and we hope we can see that match with Kenny Omega. So, closing thoughts on this video. First of all, I want to thank you for being my partner for this video.
Make my debut.
Yeah, you'll make your debut, and you'll be joining us more and more. And your closing thoughts on this. 1 to 10, your grading on this.
I would probably give this show a solid 7.5. There was a couple matches that I thought were not as good as going into it I thought they would be. Definitely the Dark Order and the Best Friends.
Yeah.
That match could have been a little better. Like I said, the Battle Royal, it was what it was. But like I said, 7.5, I would say, like an 7.5 to 8. There was a lot of matches that were real good, and some that, like I said, disappointed.
I will give an 8. I will give an 8 just because, to me, at least it delivered, and to me, I'm very happy that Jericho is the champion.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think there was any doubt. You needed to put, if you know anything
out
about
of the two guys, the right guy is Jericho. So
just for now,
and once again, we're not saying that Hangman Page will not be champion. I'm just saying for now, you need the older guy. You need the guy that is well known.
I would almost say it's safe to say he'll be. I would even say he'll be the next champion.
I will say that if they want to put the title on a babyface, you're going to put on Hangman Page.
Yeah.
And that's how the company will start.
Because you needed to put on Jericho to get the name over, so you knew that was going to be the thing.
Yeah. And for us, we're just going to be waiting for October 2nd, the debut on AEW on TNT. And this is Road Break for you guys. So we'll be back soon. We'll be back with a review of NXT TakeOver Cardiff. Adam!